Hello friends, welcome to my channel Class 12 Biology. I am Mrs. Prabha Karthik. I have been a teacher at FITGI, Chennai. In this channel, I am going to upload topics from Class 12 NCERT Biology textbook. They are all going to be PowerPoint presentations and I'll be giving explanations for each slide. So I'm going to begin with genetics and evolution. I hope you have a wonderful time learning and preparing for your exams like your board exams and NEET exam. Thank you. Genetics and evolution. Class 12 NCERT Biology. So in this topic, we are going to study about principles of inheritance and variation, molecular basis of inheritance, and the different theories in evolution. So first we are going to cover genetics and then move on to evolution and then we will see how both are related. So now let's move on to genetics. Genetics and evolution. So in genetics we are going to study about the principles of inheritance and variation and then the molecular basis of inheritance. In principles of inheritance and variation we are going to see the Mendel's laws of inheritance. We are going to see inheritance of one gene, inheritance of two genes, sex determination, mutation and genetic disorders. In molecular basis of inheritance, we are going to study the structure of DNA, the RNA, replication, transcription, the genetic code, what's translation, regulation of gene expression, the Human Genome Project, and DNA fingerprinting. Evolution. Principles of inheritance and variation. So, what is inheritance or what is heredity and what is variation? Heredity is the study of transmission of characters from parents to offspring or from one generation to the next. And these characters or traits are called hereditary characters. For example, the color of your eye, the color of the skin, the color of your hair, your height, etc. are all inherited or they are hereditary characters. They are different from acquired characters, that is, the characters which you acquire when you live from your environment. Acquired characters cannot be passed on, but inherited characters are passed on through genes. Now, coming to variation. These are differences found in morphological, physiological, cytological, and behavioristic traits of individuals belonging to same species, race, and family. For example, in your family, you and your sibling are similar yet different. There are differences in your morphology, that is your physical appearance, and then there are differences internally at the physiological, cytological level, that is at the cellular level, and also there are differences in your behaviors, in your aptitudes, in the way you like certain things or you dislike certain things. So these are all controlled by various genes present in your body. So, what makes you inherit certain traits, and why are there differences in the traits when you belong to the same family, is what genetics is all about. So, how this happens is what you will learn in this chapter. Class 12. So, the first thing when you start learning genetics is first you need to learn the experiments and laws of inheritance by Gregor Mendel. So, Gregor Mendel is the father of genetics, and because of him, we are able to learn a topic called genetics in the modern world. He started the concept of inheritance and he taught us that we inherit certain traits from our parents, and at the same time, we have differences when we compare with our parents and siblings. So, first we will learn Mendel's biographical sketch, Mendel's experiments, and then the Mendel's laws of inheritance. NCERT Biology. Mendel's biographical sketch. So Mendel was born in Austria in 1822. He graduated in 1840. Then he became a priest in 1847 at a monastery in Austria. Then between 1857 to 1865, he carried out experiments on garden pea in the monastery garden. Why did he suddenly carry out experiments on garden pea? Because Mendel was a highly curious person. He was curious about the nature. He had a very strong analytical and a logical mind. He was strong in maths and physics, and he loved to apply logic to even the nature around him and try to understand why things look and behave in a certain way. So the experiments which he did on garden pea in the future led out the basis of genetics. And these experiments and the conclusions which he drew based on these experiments made him the father of genetics. He published his research papers in the Proceedings of the Brune Society of Natural History, but unfortunately his work remained unnoticed for 35 years and he died in 1884. But in the early 1900s, Mendel's work was recognized by three biologists, Hugo de Vries, Karl Correns, and E.V. Sherman. They recognized his work and published his work again, and that's when we were able to understand the basis of genetics, and Mendel was called as the father of genetics. Why did Mendel select the pea plant for his experiment? The first reason, it had a short life cycle, so you could get offsprings quickly and observe them. The flowers are bisexual, that means both the male and the female part are in one flower, that is the stamens with the filament and the anther, and the pistil with the stigma, style, and the ovary. So they could self pollinate easily, and you can easily cross pollinate them. And you could obtain pure line varieties because the garden pea was self pollinating. Pure line means that the genes are not mixed with another plant. The plant is self pollinating and the offspring has a strong similarity with that of the parent because there is no other plant with which you are pollinating it. And we could cross pollinate and get a hybrid because the flowers were large, so you could easily transfer the pollens of one flower to the stigma of other flower. And we had several contrasting characters in the garden pea plants. So when you have a lot of contrasting characters, it helps us to understand the transmission and the variation in these characters, which form the basis of genetics. So now coming to the 7 pairs of contrasting characters in garden pea plant. So we have 7 pairs of contrasting characters which I listed out now. We have height of the plant, color of flower, position of flower, color of seed, color of pod, and the shape of pod. Now you can also see for each character you have a dominant character and a recessive character. That means one character is more frequent or more prevalent in each generation compared to the other. For example, if you see the height of the plant, the tall plant is more common than the dwarf one. So, whichever character is more prominent, that's called the dominant one, and whichever is not prominent or which is less frequent and which can skip generations, that is the recessive one. So for color of the flower, the purple one is more dominant, more frequent than the white one. The position of the flower, axial flowers mean the flowers which grow at the leaf angle compared to the terminal one. Terminal flowers are the flowers which grow at the tip of the stems. Then you have color of the seed. Yellow is more prominent than green. Shape of the seed, round is more prevalent or more frequent than the wrinkled. Color of the pod, green color of the pod is more frequent than yellow. And shape of the pod, an inflated pod is more common than a constricted pod. In the next slide, you have the images for these characters. So here you can see the images for all the contrasting characters. So for the seeds, you have the shape and the you can see the color. Then you can, for the flower, you can see the color. Then you can see the pod shape and the color. And then the stem, you can see the height and the position of the flower. Mendel's experiment. The first one is the monohybrid experiment. Mono means singular, hybrid means a combination of two things. So the word mono here represents the difference in a single pair of contrasting character. And hybrid is because the two pea plants were cross pollinated and the resulting offspring was the hybrid offspring. Now he took two plants which differed only for the character height. He took a pure tall plant and a pure dwarf plant. They are called pure tall and pure dwarf because they have been produced as a result of several generations of self pollination. There was no cross pollination, so their genes are pure or not mixed. So the pure tall plant was cross pollinated with a pure dwarf plant, and the resulting generation is called the F1 or the first filial generation. I repeat, it is called the first filial generation or the F1 hybrid. It's called an hybrid because it has been produced as a result of cross pollination. It has a mixture of the genes of both the parents. So the pure tall plant, as you can see in the diagram, I am calling it TT, capital T, which represents the two factors which determine the character of height. Mendel called each alphabet here, which I have written, two T's, as a pair of factors. A pair of factors control a character. So here the capital two T's control the character of height. Similarly, for the dwarf character, I have written the two T's again, but the small two T's. So these pair of factors, the small two T's, control the character of height, but for the height of dwarfness. Okay, so we have tall and we have dwarf. So tall is represented here, the pure tall plant is represented by capital two T's and the pure dwarf plant is represented by small two T's. So now he cross pollinates them. When he cross pollinates them, the gametes inherit, or the reproductive cells of each parent inherits only one factor, that is capital T and one small t. Gametes do not have factors in pairs. They have only one of the factors, not both. So you have a capital T and you have small t in the gametes because gametes are haploid whereas parents are diploid. The gametes produced by the parents are haploid. Now, when these gametes get together or fertilize, then you get the F1 hybrid, which has again the diploid condition, that is, the factors are again in a pair, but you have a capital T and a small t. And this is called the F1 hybrid. But when Mendel observed this F1 generation, he didn't see any dwarf plants, he saw all tall plants. So there was no appearance of dwarf plants. So the character of dwarfness did not appear out. It skipped a generation. Though it is there in the plant, the pair is there, but the appearance is not there. This is called as recessiveness, as we discussed earlier. Recessive trait skips generation. It does not appear in every generation. Though it is carried on or passed on, it does not appear out. So this is the F1 generation, that is capital T and small t. Now, this F1 generation is self pollinated. Okay, so you have self pollination in the F1 generation. Again, the gametes have only one of the factors, not both. You don't have both the factors, that is the pair gets separated, and then you get the F2 generation when the fertilization occurs. In the F2 generation you have tall plant, and you get the dwarf plant. You can see when there's two small t's, then the dwarf plant appears. So that means for a recessive trait to appear or to show itself, both the recessive factors must come together. They must not get separated or get mixed with a dominant factor. The recessive factors must be together for it to appear. When a recessive factor combines with a dominant factor, it cannot show itself out. It is present but it cannot show itself out, and the plant appears to have the dominant character only. So you have three tall and one dwarf plant. In those three tall, one is a pure tall, two are hybrid tall. They are not pure tall plants, and one pure dwarf plant. So now coming to the result of this monohybrid experiment, as I told you before, we had three tall plants and one dwarf plant in the F2 or the second filial generation, which was produced as a result of self pollination of the F1 generation. So we have three tall and one dwarf. In that one plant was pure tall and two plants were hybrid talls. Okay, so we can say the ratio of tall to dwarf was 3 tall to 1 dwarf. So the ratio of this monohybrid experiment was, or the monohybrid ratio as you can call it, is 3 is to 1, 3 tall to 1 dwarf. And this square form in which we are representing the result is called the Punnett square. Monohybrid cross, the crossing of two pure individuals for one pair of contrasting characters, is called monohybrid cross, and the phenotypic ratio obtained in the F2 generation is called monohybrid ratio. Now, what is this word phenotypic? Phenotype means the appearance of characters, or the characters which can be seen or observed to the external eye, or the characters which physically appear. Those are called phenotypic characters. So we have three tall. So the three tall plants all look the same. Externally all look tall. So we have three tall and one dwarf. The genotypic ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 1. That is 1 pure tall, 2 hybrid tall, and 1 dwarf. So in that between the tall plants, we actually have 2 hybrid talls and 1 pure tall. So the genetic makeup is the genotype. So we cannot see the genes externally, but inside the genetic makeup is different between the pure and the hybrid. So that's why the genotypic ratio is different from the phenotypic ratio. So based on this experiment, Mendel gave his first law of inheritance, which is the law of dominance. He said that in a cross between two organisms for any pair of contrasting characters, the character which appears first in the hybrid of F1 generation is called dominant, and the one which is suppressed is called recessive. So as we saw, the tall appeared in the F1 generation, not the dwarf character. So the tall character is dominant over dwarf. And the second law of inheritance is the law of segregation of characters. Hybrid individual may contain both the contrasting characters or alleles of a particular trait, but the gametes are formed. There is segregation of characters, so that each gamete has only one of the two contrasting characters. In other words, the gamete is pure as far as contrasting character is concerned. So I had mentioned before, gametes are haploid, so they inherit only one of the factors and not both the factors of a pair. Or both the alleles of a allelic pair. You can call the word allele or you can use the word factor. Mendel used the word factor and later on the word allele was coined. Allele means both the characters of a pair. For example, tall is one allele, dwarf is one allele, and both together form a pair for the character of height. We have tall and we have dwarf. So the gamete can inherit only tall or it can inherit only dwarf, allele or factor. It cannot inherit both because gametes are haploid and the gametes are pure because there is no mixture. Gametes are pure as far as the character is concerned because they inherit only one character or one allele or one factor. Now coming to Mendel's second experiment, which was the dihybrid experiment. So di means dual, double or two. So here he took two garden pea plants which differed from each other for two pairs of contrasting characters. In the monohybrid experiment, they differed from each other for one pair of contrasting characters. Here they differed from each other for two pairs of contrasting characters. He cross pollinated the two garden pea plants and the resulting generation was called the hybrid generation or the F1 hybrid. So in this dihybrid experiment, he took a garden pea plant which was pure for the yellow color of the seed and the shape of the seed. It was pure for the round character. So he took yellow round seeds and they were pure for these characters. Similarly, he took another garden pea plant which was pure for having green color of the seed and it had the wrinkled skin. So the seed was green and wrinkled and that was the other garden pea plant. So we have a yellow round green pea, garden pea plant and we have one green wrinkled garden pea plant. So he took the yellow round garden pea plant and cross pollinated with the green wrinkled garden pea plant and both these plants are pure for their respective characters. So now when the gametes are formed, so you get a what do you get for the gametes? You get only one character from each pair. So you will get yellow and you will get round. And here you will get green and you will get wrinkled in the haploid state. That is, you will only get one from the each pair. One character, one allele from each pair. That's what is in the gametes. Now, when the gametes get fertilized, you get the F1 hybrid. And the F1 hybrid is diploid like the parent generation, but it is a hybrid. It is not pure. So, you have a yellow round plant. That's what Mendel observed. The F1 hybrid was yellow round. So, what happened to the green and wrinkled traits? They did not appear. So this means if you apply law of dominance here, yellow round are the dominant characters whereas green and wrinkled are recessive characters because they did not appear in the F1 generation. The F1 generation appeared yellow and round seeds. Now when he self-pollinated the F1 generation, again we have the gametes. So we'll have gametes which have yellow round. We will have gametes which will have yellow wrinkled. We will have gametes which have green round characters and we will have gametes which have green wrinkled. That's how the characters split and the gametes get one character from each pair because as I'm repeating, the gametes are haploid. So when the gametes fertilize, then what happens? Now after the gametes fertilize, you get the F2 generation and the result of the fertilization you can see in this Punnett square. So we have mentioned the male and the female gametes and when you fertilize them you can see the following results. So when you count, you can see that we have 9 yellow round plants, 3 yellow wrinkled plants, 3 green round plants and 1 green wrinkle plants. So that green wrinkle, which is a complete pure recessive plant, because it is recessive for both the characters, for the color and the shape, that is the green and the wrinkle. It's a pure recessive plant. You have so one pure recessive plant. Now you have 9 plants which are yellow and round. In that, some are pure yellow round and most of them are the hybrid yellow round. Then you have yellow wrinkled. So yellow wrinkled is what the you will have a wrinkled is the recessive character. So wrinkled is pure part, but the yellow is either a pure yellow or it is a hybrid yellow. And then we have green round. Similarly, here the green is the recessive character and round is the dominant character. So here round can be what do you say? It can be a pure round or it can be a hybrid round. And then, as I mentioned before, you have one pure recessive, which is the green wrinkled. So the phenotypic ratio, as we saw for the monohybrid cross, the phenotypic ratio here is 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. 9 yellow round, 3 yellow wrinkled, 3 green round, and 1 green wrinkled. Now coming to the dihybrid cross, so as I mentioned, the dihybrid experiment, the dihybrid cross is when you cross two pure individuals which differ from each other for two pairs of contrasting characters. So this is the dihybrid cross, and we saw the whole experiment, and the phenotypic ratio obtained in the F2 generation is the dihybrid ratio, and the dihybrid ratio is 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. Now, what about the genotypic ratio? So, the genotypic ratio, what's a genotype? The genetic makeup. So, what are the alleles? So, the phenotype can be yellow round, but it can be a pure yellow round or it can be a hybrid yellow round. So, the genotype varies for a pure and a hybrid plant. So, if you see the genotypic ratio for the F2 generation of a dihybrid cross, we have 1 is to 2 is to 1 is to 2 is to 4. 2 is to 1, 2 is to 1. So that is the genotypic ratio. So based on this dihybrid cross, Mendel gave the third law of inheritance, which is the law of independent assortment. He said that in crossing of two or more traits are involved, their factors assort independently, irrespective of their combination present in their parents. I repeat, Mendel said that in crossing, if two or more traits are involved, their factors assort independently, irrespective of their combinations present in their parents. In other words, each one of a pair of a contrasting characters may be combined with either of another pair type. That means when the gametes are forming, the factors assort independently. You can see you have the yellow factor or allele, it can go along with round or it can be with wrinkle character. So just because in the parent plant yellow was with round character does not mean that in the hybrid the yellow cannot be with the wrinkled character. In the F2 generation we got a yellow wrinkled plant. So that means the one pair of contrasting characters, that is, for example, yellow and green, that is a pair of contrasting characters, and the other pair of contrasting characters what? Round and wrinkled. So you can combine the alleles of this in any manner. Yellow can be with round or yellow can be with wrinkled. Similarly, green can be with round and green can be with wrinkled. It is not that yellow is only with round and green is only with wrinkled. They can assort independently and form combinations which were not present in their parents. So this is what is law of independent assortment, and this is the third law of inheritance. Now coming to back cross and test cross. What is a back cross? When a F1 individual is crossed with any of its parent, it's called a backcross. For example, in the monohybrid cross, the F1 generation was a hybrid tall plant. So if we cross this hybrid tall plant with the pure tall parent or the pure dwarf parent, it is a backcross. What is a test cross? A test cross is also a type of backcross, but here the F1 individual is crossed only with the recessive parent. For example, when the F1 generation, the hybrid tall plant is crossed with the recessive dwarf plant, the parent recessive dwarf plant. Similarly, in the dihybrid cross, when the yellow round hybrid plant of the F1 generation is crossed with the green wrinkled recessive parent, the pure recessive parent, it is a test cross. Why do you do this test cross? Because it helps breeders to know the genotype of the F1 individual. Because when you, in a test cross, when you cross the F1 individual and you want to know the genotype of the F1 individual, if you cross it with the recessive parent, then the offspring from this cross will have the recessive trait. The recessive trait will appear because you will get two plants with tall characters and two plants with dwarf characters. So the ratio of the phenotypic ratio will be 2 is to 2. 2 tall is to 2 dwarf. So we can, that shows that the F1 hybrid plant has the recessive factor or the recessive allele. Similarly, for the dihybrid test cross also, if you cross the yellow round plant with the green wrinkled plant, you will get plants which are having yellow round characters. You will have plants which have yellow wrinkled, you will have and you will also have plants which are green wrinkled. So when green wrinkled appears, that proves that the recessive factors or alleles were present in the F1 hybrid. So this helps us to know the genotype of the F1 individual. Factor or determiner. So Mendel called genes as factors. I have been repeatedly using the word factor throughout the presentation and not the word gene as such, because Mendel used the word factor and not gene. He did not know the existence of genes and chromosomes. He said that something controls characters and this something were definite units or particles, and he termed it as factors. He also said that every character was controlled by a pair of factors. For example, the height character was controlled by a pair of factors, which is the contrasting to each other, that is tall and dwarf. Similarly, the color of the seed, you have yellow and green. They are a pair of factors, but they are contrasting. Then came the new word or term called allele, which means the same, a pair of factors. So they are a pair of contrasting characters or related factors controlling a single trait. The same thing, tall and dwarf, red and white, yellow and green, then you have round and wrinkled, etc. So this is it for this presentation. I'll be uploading video soon with practice questions for this topic, and then we will move on to presentations related to the later part of principles of inheritance and variation, where we will see chromosomal theory of inheritance. We'll see what is linkage and recombination in chromosomes. Then we will study about codominance, incomplete dominance, and then sex determination in humans and in certain other species. So that will then wrap up principles of inheritance and variation, and then we will have to move on to molecular basis of inheritance. So thank you. I hope you have learned the Mendel's experiments and you understood what is a monohybrid and a dihybrid cross. Any doubts, if you have, you can leave it in the comment section. I will gladly reply to you. And then we will, as we do the practice questions in the next video which I'll be uploading, if you get further doubts, you feel free to leave it in the comment section. Thank you.